Are differences a good or a bad thing? Because we're different, must we end up in conflict with each other? And how do we manage our differences so that everybody benefits? Now, we've known since we're kids that we're different. Differences of colour, age, ability, viewpoints, humour. And maybe we've also learnt, as we're going through life, that the differences need not get in the way. That the differences can be our strength. And some of my pals today are very, very different to me. And that's why we're good pals, because that difference is there. So we can celebrate the difference. Now, can we do that even if the differences are dramatic? I remember once doing a team build, and one of the guys on the course lived in a boat in the middle of a nearby harbour. And when we said to him, why do you live in a boat in the middle of the harbour? And his answer was, to get as far away from people as possible. And we had a few people on that course who just couldn't get their heads around this. And they wanted to say, you're weird. Not weird, just dramatically different. That person has a strong need for space, their own space. Other people don't have that need. They have a need for company. They have a need for people. If I'm driving up the motorway and the person beside me says, Shay, do you want to stop for a cup of coffee? I do a quick check inside, do I want a cup of coffee? No, thanks. And suddenly an atmosphere starts growing in the car because they really wanted a cup of coffee even though they didn't say they wanted a cup of coffee. A proposal is put on the table. It's greeted with silence. Some people will interpret that as approval, others as disapproval. When you thank somebody for doing a good job, some people will feel appreciated, others will feel patronised. These differences, they can get in the way and can be very confusing. So I'm going in that direction and you're going in that direction, so we don't see eye to eye. You try something different, but we still don't see eye to eye. You try something different again, that's the time to go shopping, play a game of golf, do anything but stay in that relationship when all you want is for us all to be going in the same direction. So how do we achieve that? How do you get people who are dramatically very, very different going in the same direction? Because very often, because of our differences, we bounce off each other like this. And there's an awful lot of wastage in our relationships. Sometimes this happens. We fight each other. Massive amount of wastage and bad feeling. I'm suggesting we might want to do that, where we blend the talents and the gifts, become something really powerful. Minimal wastage. Bob Geldof is supposed to have said to Mother Teresa, I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. But together, we can change the world. I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. Together, we can be very, very powerful and make big differences to our world. My local football team, there's a player there called Cosmos, and he is absolutely brilliant up front. And he's excellent at taking penalties. He consistently scores 7 out of every 10 penalties he takes. Now, he is pretty hopeless in defence and pathetic saving goals. Now, you might want to say, you have a weakness here. To overcome this weakness, we need you to practice saving goals. Is that really a good use of Cosmos' skill and time? Of course not. What might be far better and more effective is to get him practicing taking penalties, so his average goes up from 7 out of 10 to 9 out of 10. So that's another way of looking at it. Helping people to become great at what they're good at, rather than criticizing them for what they can't do or are not designed to do. So to make your place of work an even better place to work, recognize the gifts that your colleagues are bringing to the team. And rather than criticize anybody for what they can't do, you might want to help them to become great at what they're good at.